it is chilly and brisk this morning, the day I decide to sail around to Broad Creek. The forecast models, however, are showing the wind dropping off rapidly in the afternoon. So I was worried about running out of wind. So as a result, I'm sailing in a little more wind than I would like right now. Especially as we have to sail into this narrow dredge channel into Broad Creek. Luckily, the winds do get considerably lighter once inside, and the waters widen up a bit. However, there's still too much wind to scull or use the dinghy as a push boat to get up to the boatyard, and it's too narrow to tack. So I'll bide my time, trusting that the forecast models will be correct. And indeed, by late afternoon, the winds are dropping off. So I'm going to get the sculling oar ready to go. And I'll lash the dinghy off the quarter. Well, it looks benign enough now to pull up our anchor and get headed toward the boatyard. As we approach the boatyard, conditions almost go flat. So I'll kill the outboard and we'll use momentum and the sculling oar for the remaining bit. There's still a little bit of wind that's hitting my rigging up above. You can see the flag still waving a bit. I'm going to need some help from the sculling oar. The boatyard cannot haul me out just now, so they're going to put me in a slip first. But that, of course, means I have to back her out of the slip and then move her around and back into the travel lift slip. So, here we go. But the combination of having the push boat on the starboard side and the wind just happening to gust in and hit me off my starboard bow means that I can't get her to turn to starboard or get through the wind. So I'm going to have to drop anchor before I run into these boats docked on the other side of the creek. So I got the anchor to pull her bow around. Now I've lifted the anchor back up, and I'm going to try to steer closer to the travel lift slip. You can just see where the travel lift is. And then I'm going to try to run a line to the people on the travel lift dock. However, my line is too short, so I'm going to use the push boat to try to push her stern closer to the dock, and then try running the line. And I do manage to get a line to the dock.
Just be careful, that's not too strong.
Although this has been a rather fumbled operation on my part. So I'm feeling a little bruised about that. But once again, all's well that ends well. And we now have her secure in the travel lift slip and ready to hoist. And set her back down, block her up, and now we get to work. Which for me always begins with scraping and sanding the bottom. And I'll remove the bowsprit for varnishing. I begin this by tying a line around a nearby tree, and then attach both the jib halyard and the staysail halyard. And with that all working in concert, and by all the magic of block and tackle, that heavy sprit can be lifted right up off the foredeck and gently lowered down onto the ground. Lest you all think I don't read your comments, back in the spring of 2019, I replaced the batteries in Ruth Avery with the same AGM batteries that I installed previously, and which I was happy with. They had lasted nearly 6 years. And in that video, I explained why I decided to go with AGMs rather than the newer lithium batteries, which are becoming all the rage. And my reasoning went as follows. I considered the fact that 225 amp hour AGM batteries made by VMAX would run me about $600 US. So I reasoned that for $600 US I would get a total of 250 amp hours of capacity that would last me about 6 years. I compared these with the highly rated Battleborn lithium batteries and noted that for a 100 amp hour lithium battery would run me nearly $1,000 US. So 2 of them would be $2,000, I reasoned, for 200 amp hours of capacity, when for $600 I could have 250 amp hours of capacity. However, and as many of you pointed this out in the comment section, my math was incorrect. The oversight was that I was only considering nominal capacity, when what really matters is usable capacity. Now for AGM batteries as well as lead-acid flooded batteries, generally the usable capacity is only about 50% of the nominal capacity. Whereas for lithium batteries, that number is closer to 90%. So that means that for 250 nominal amp hours of capacity with AGMs, the usable capacity is only about 125 amp hours. So it's $600 for about 125 amp hours of usable capacity. So with this in mind, I compared my 2 AGMs to a 170 amp hour Renogy lithium battery, which retails for about $1,400 US. Now, 170 amp hour lithium should have about 150 amp hours of usable capacity, so should have more usable capacity than my 2 AGMs. So recall the 2 AGMs were about $600 US, and the lithium battery is $1,400, so a little more than twice the price, but getting a little more capacity. So roughly twice the price. However, it is claimed that lithium batteries should last about 4 to 5 times as long as AGMs. So when you figure that in over time, the lithium batteries are about half the price of the AGMs. So it actually works out to be a much better deal. But the advantages don't stop there. As you can see, the 170 amp hour lithium battery is not much larger than one of the 125 AGMs, and I needed 2 of those batteries. So I've saved on a fair bit of space. And as I did note in my previous video, lithium batteries are considerably lighter than AGMs or lead-acid batteries. That 170 amp hour lithium battery weighs 48 pounds. One 125 amp hour AGM is 75 pounds. So I've pulled over 100 pounds out of the boat, which is pretty considerable savings in weight. So while I'm changing batteries, this is also a good time to reorganize my electrical system a bit, which I'm going to do by adding this bus bar. Besides tidying things up, This will allow me to add a master fuse to the entire electrical system. So I connected the main positive and negative from the battery to my bus bars going through the main fuse here. And I had the forward solar panels connected, and my little charge controller came on. And we got 13.2 volts. So that's a good sign. Alright, so that's the positive on the fridge. There's the little fuse on the fridge. So, and do we have power? Yes. And there it goes. So, got the fridge working. Alright, looks like we got our radio back. Alright, we got the GPS feed. So far so good.
West winds 5 to 10 knots.
Alright, inverter seems to work. And last thing is to plug the charger in. See what happens here. Yep, voltage is going up, 13.5. Now I gotta straighten up the mess. Outside we got a nice fair weather day, so I'm painting the top sides. But we're just getting started here. I have several other big projects planned for this haul out, and we'll get into that in the next video.